A lot of people have a fascination with trains, coming from when they're a little kid having this glorious image in their mind of this locomotive speeding across the entire country, going day and night nonstop. So it's no big wonder that there are board games associated with this. One of the more well-known of these would be Ticket to Ride, but a lesser known but still very good game is TransAmerica. And when you're in one of those situations where you're dealing with brand new people and you're trying to figure out what they can comprehend, what they can take in, especially those family gatherings where people say, oh yeah, I'm a real big gamer, and they pull out like Balderdash and Pictionary, and you're left kind of going, why? Oh no, that's not games. This is a great one for those situations. It's simple to teach, easy to play, and it can be done in realistically 10 or 15 minutes. You can play the entire game through in about a half an hour. So let's take a look at this guy. TransAmerica is a game by Franz Benno de Longe, and this was out of production for a while but recently got re-released. And it goes for 2 to 6 players, takes about a half an hour, and inside you're going to find a single rules sheet. The rules really are that simple. A player board, pack of pieces which have 6 different colors in them. The color being the train marker, and then a little piece that's going to mark where your starting area is. And a whole bunch of these black road pieces that everybody is going to be using. Then you have 5 decks of cards, as well as a starting player icon. To start the game off, everyone's going to want to take their playing piece combination, take the train and put it in the little train yard over here, and hold on to your other piece. This is going to indicate where you're going to start on the board. Also, separate the cards into the 5 corresponding colored decks. These correlate with the 5 different colored sections on the map. At the start of the game, everybody's going to get one of these cards from each deck. Each card signifies a city that you have to get to in order to finish the game. So suppose this is my starting hand. These are the 5 cities I've got to get myself connected to. Some of them might be kind of close together, some of them might be very far apart, but in the end, you won't have to do all of the work because you will be working with the other players. So these are my 5 cities, so how do I get to them? First thing you're going to do is each person in turn is going to place their starting marker. This is going to determine where all of your tracks are going to start growing out of. Suppose I go ahead and start myself off right here. This isn't too bad since I've got to get to Bismarck and Kansas City, as well as Washington and El Paso and something over here on the coast. I forget what it is. Other players are also going to be putting their starting markers out there on the board based on whatever areas they have. Then when it comes back to that starting player, then you're going to start trying to grow your train routes out to cover the United States. Each turn, you're going to have 2 actions which you're going to use to place roads. Every single lined track is going to cost you 1 action. So if I wanted to go up to Bismarck here, it would take both of my actions to place on both of those road segments and connect me with Bismarck. Yay! On my next turn, I might start working my way down here towards Kansas City. But on the turn after that, I actually have to go across this river. The river has 2 hash marks on it because it's going to take both of my actions to complete that road segment. So for my entire turn, I can place that 1 track down to get me into Kansas City, and that's all I can do. Can't do anything else. Also, anytime you go over the rivers or tunnel through the mountains, you can't do part of it on one turn and part of it on another. The entire thing has to be done on that turn, and it takes both your actions. You can't do anything else. You continue on taking your turns this way, trying to make it to all 5 of your cities, trying to be the first person to accomplish that, because that person's actually going to win that round. The interesting part comes into play when you start getting close to someone else. Suppose green over here has worked his way over and has gotten himself to where he's working his way along the coastline here. Got himself all the way up to Sacramento. Perhaps I need to get to Los Angeles, but I don't want to have to work my way all the way over there, especially since green is trying to work his way over here toward the East Coast. If I can connect our two routes and take one turn to place a couple of road segments that now links me to green's tracks, now on my next turn, I can place anywhere along this connected route line. So if I'm trying to get to Los Angeles, now I can decide to come all the way down here and go, well, I'm just going to go there, and now I'm in LA. Good for me. Blue can't play over here because he's not connected to us yet. But as soon as any one of us actually connects those routes, now everybody's free to play off of any place. So the strategy in the game comes into really where you place your starting marker. There's a decent amount of luck involved in which actual locations you get at the start of the game, but this is still a lot of fun. A round ends as soon as any player actually has all 5 of their cities connected, which might happen on someone else's turn if they manage to connect things that help you out. Scoring at the end of the round works in a reverse order for points. You start off up here in your little train station and you're actually working your way down depending on how far away you were from making it to your cities. The person who actually managed to have all of their cities connected doesn't get any points marked against them. Everyone else gets a point marked for every road segment that they were short. And this does mean that you're getting marked twice for any river or mountain segment that you were short. So at the end of the game, if I actually manage to make it everywhere except for Winston, that's going to cost me 2 points because that's the shortest distance it would take to get me there. I would actually lose 2 points, dunk dunk, and I would go down and start myself at 11. If green managed to get everywhere except for Washington, which can actually be done in one segment playing off of New York that blue had, then green is only going to get deducted 1 point for that. Blue, having gotten everywhere that they needed to go, they don't actually take any points down. This is the scoring at the end of one round. You will put the cards back in, reshuffle, and restart with the person who is currently in the lead having to place their marker down first. After you've played through a couple of rounds of this, and people have taken some negatives and not, then you can put a marker down 2 spaces below whoever is currently leading the negative points. So if green is at this point, you put 2 points below that. Then as soon as anyone crosses this boundary, that's the last round of the game. The game does have an automatic stopping point when someone gets down to 0 points or less, because you can't drive off into the ocean. It's effectively, that's what you do. You drive off and die. It's simple, it's relatively straightforward, and that's how you play. It is worth mentioning that there is a Vexation expansion for this game. The expansion contains 3 road markers for each player color in the game. What these are single-use road connections that you get. When you place them, you're the only person who gets to benefit from that road piece, and it forces the other players to have to find a way to go around. Suppose in this situation, I had actually placed a white marker here as I was going into Kansas City. Then later, when I connected with green over here, if green is trying to get to Minneapolis at this location, green can't start playing off of this area because I've got that white piece there. Green's connection stops right there. So green would first have to find a way to get around and connect to this before making it there. So they would have to take one turn going there and perhaps making their other placement some other place. Then on their next turn they could come back and get themselves across the river. Now they're actually connected to this part of my route, and then they could play straight to Minneapolis. But realize as you're doing this, trying to screw other people over, they're also doing this to you. This can get a little complicated when you get lots of different colored connections in the same area. Just sit down and work it out with everybody else so you can be clear on exactly what's connected with what. But that's it. This one's a lot of fun. Play it, enjoy it, and let me know what you think. Till next time, from Vidhammer, keep playing.